43 years ago, I created a super extreme demon known as crack addiction. It took 43 years to get verified. Obviously, if it took that long to get verified, it's gotta be the hardest level. Well, me and my team decided to break down the level in each of its parts to see, is this level truly a super extreme demon, the #1 demon forever? We're about to find out.
To start off, we have a pretty difficult cube part. There's some hard orb timings and even harder cube orb transitions. I mean, look at some of these timings. Now, transitioning from some pretty easy orb spam, we have a near pixel perfect ball part transitioning into a final destination cube part. I rate this part a 5.4 out of 10. Now to start off, we have a pretty tight spider part into a pretty easy UFO spam, transitioning into a spider part and an easy UFO. I rate this part a 3 out of 10. Now we have one of the hardest wave parts in this level. Some tight spam, transitioning into an even tighter straight fight part. I rate this part a 6.7 out of 10. Now we start off with a pretty easy ball to cube section, transitioning into an extremely difficult UFO part. With some tight timings, this is sure to rack up your attempts while playing this beast of a level. Going through this, you have to do some pretty difficult maneuvering to be alive. I rate this part a 5.4 out of 10. Now, we have a pretty easy duel part. One of the easiest parts of the level, to be exact. No matter your skill level, you could probably do this. Now, transitioning from this duel, you have an easy, if not free cube. I rate this a 2.4 out of 10. Now we have this wave part, with it being at 3 times and some of the tightest timing parts in the level. This is sure to be extremely difficult for anyone. Transitioning from some easy orb spam into another tight ship part. Transitioning from this, we have an extremely easy cube part. I rate this entire part a 6.9 out of 10. Now to pass it off to Mesolors.
Hello, it's your local sex offender Mesolors. You start off with a pretty easy ball with bounce, which transitions into a blind jump. It's pretty shitty. Then we get a relatively simple ship and robot part, which is about 0.5 out of 10.69 difficulty. Until you reach a part where you don't know what the fuck's going on and your PC becomes a potato. Ship transition, ship ball timing, more ball timings, pretty easy OFO. You got a fucking cold sweat difficulty wave, resulting in this level being more unbalanced than your mother's diet. This is probably one of the shittiest timing parts in this level. It reveals that virtual games can have far and scale autism. Okay, now what the actual fuck was that? Alright, this mid part is about 5 to 10 difficulty. With easy parts and parts shittier than a Taco Bell toilet. So, that's not very good. Anyways, here's Lubs.
The extension of this super extreme demon starts off with a pretty simple straight fly, easy but hard on high refresh rates. You then have some pretty easy speed core gameplay, which isn't too hard at all. I'd give this part a 6 out of 10. You then have a spam wave, which if you have too low CPS you'll die, and then followed by some easy robot timings, but if you can't do microclicks that well you're screwed. I'd give this part a 5 out of 10. Simple wave parts, easy, 4 out of 10. Easy ball spam, literally a 2 out of 10. This spam upcoming requires high CPS to live, followed by a really bad ship transition, and if you go to the blue portal wrong, you're dead. 7 out of 10. Easy cube spam, and UFO timings. Not even really timings, you just gotta click 2 buttons, it's not that hard. You then have this super extreme duel, which it's quite learning, but once you learn it, it's really not that hard. I'd give this part a 5 out of 10. Pretty simple ship part, but if you're on 60 Hz, then you are literally going to suffer so much. Like, actually, this isn't that hard on high refresh rates. The 60 Hz players are literally so garbage. You then have an impossible wave part, which requires high CPS and timing abilities to be able to survive. that part is a 9 out of 10 due to the impossible wave. So then some easy cube timings, but a bad ship transition, leading to this part to be a 7 out of 10. Some more simple cube timings, but if you hit that dash orb wrong, you're going to die because you won't hit the red orb correctly. You then have some pretty simple UFO timings, no kill bot last UFO, easy, 4 out of 10. Simple cube timings, there aren't even really timings, you just gotta hit the orbs. But then it's followed by ship transition, which if you're bad at straight fly or 60 Hz, which is the same thing, you're gonna die, 5 out of 10. Simple wave, however, on low refresh rates, the transition to the duel becomes more and more impossible, leading this to be a 6 out of 10 because the duel is really loading. Some easy UFO spam, cube timing, and some more timings. Literally a 2 out of 10 wave. This wave is pretty much on it. Then you have a really impossible cube part with requiring this green orb to be a double click. So if you don't have the spacebar, it's a 7 out of 10, but if you have the spacebar, it's a 4 out of 10. Easy straight fly, but once again, if you're on 6, you're screwed. A pretty easy cube part, not too difficult at all. It's very learny though, and there's a triple spike at the end, leading to, if you have nerves, you may die at the final jump on Crack Addiction, which would be the worst fail in history because everyone knows this level is the true #1 demon. Boom. So how hard is Crack Addiction? Well, after breaking down all the parts, the team has carefully decided that yes, this is the true #1 demon. If I were to make a top 3 list and I was in charge of Pointer Crate, it would look something like this. As you can see, Crack Addiction is placed above Sonic Wave, which was previously the true #1 demon, and that is above Tartarus, of course, because, you know, Tartarus is free according to the entirety of GD Twitter anyway. So, we have carefully decided that Crack Addiction is the #1 demon. The hardest level that will be created, and possibly the hardest level that will ever exist forever.